Confirmation bias is our brain's tendency to look for information that supports what we already believe and to ignore or reject anything that doesn't. Hi friends, I'm Dr. Lem Usita and I help people and organizations explore and develop their identity. Today we're diving into something powerful that shapes how we see ourselves. It's this idea of confirmation bias and how it directly influences our identity formation. By the end of this video, you'll know how to spot it, how it works, and what you can do to move toward a more accurate, more whole version of your identity. Let's start with a quick definition. Confirmation bias is our brain's tendency to look for information that supports what we already believe and to ignore or reject anything that doesn't. It's not about opinions or politics. It's deeply personal. If I believe I'm not a leader, then I'll subconsciously tune out the moments where I was effective. I'll ignore the encouragement. I'll focus on one mistake in a week full of wins. Confirmation bias acts like a filter. It lets in what matches our beliefs and screens out what doesn't. Now, here's where it gets even more personal. Our identities form by experiences, relationships, and the stories we tell ourselves. But confirmation bias acts like the editor of that story. Let's say you were labeled shy as a kid, and every time you spoke up in class and someone didn't respond well, your brain flagged it. See, you're shy. Stay quiet. But what about all the times you did speak up and it went well? Your brain might have ignored those because they didn't fit the story you already believed. Over time, that story hardens into your identity. And then you think, I'm not outgoing, or I don't lead, or I'm not creative. I mean, I know I have used these excuses myself. And those beliefs shape your decisions, relationships, and even your identity journey. So how do you know if confirmation bias is shaping your identity? Well, here are just a few signs. First, you dismiss positive feedback. And I know this myself all too well. When someone says, that was a great idea, and immediately you think, oh, they're just being polite. You can't receive it because it doesn't match your internal story. It doesn't match what is already written in your program. Now, second, you fixate on failure. You could have 9 things go right in a week, but your brain locks onto the one thing that went wrong. And that one moment becomes your identity headline. Third, you stay stuck in old labels, in old programming, in old scripts. You say things like, I've always been this way, even if that's no longer true or never was. Fourth, you surround yourself with people who reflect what you already believe about yourself. They affirm the same limits, the language, the same narrative, no challenge, no growth, no reinforcement. Your community really does impact your identity. Here's the good news. You can't eliminate confirmation bias, but you can learn to work with it and you can redirect it toward your truth. Number one, intentionally create new experiences. Step into roles or spaces that challenge your old story. If you believe you're not creative, then take on a creative project. If you think you're not a leader, volunteer to lead something small. Give your brain new data to work with, to start rewriting the script, to start reprogramming that old programming. Number two, practice identity journaling. At the end of each week, write down one moment that challenges your narrative, one risk you took, one time you responded differently. It trains your brain to start noticing the truths it used to ignore. It trains your brain to start seeing like these new patterns. It helps you to start rewriting your identity scripts. This week, I did something I didn't think I could ever do, dot, 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 and then just write it all out. Number 3, surround yourself with truth tellers. Find people who see you more clearly than you sometimes see yourself and who aren't afraid to reflect back your growth. I got some guys in my life that I call and they always tell me the truth and they never hold back. Number 4, ask better questions. When you catch yourself falling into old beliefs, stop and ask, what else might be true? That one question can slow your bias and open you to new ways of seeing yourself. So remember, confirmation bias is always working, but that means you get to choose the direction it works in. When you tell a news story, your brain starts to look for evidence that it's true. Your identity isn't fixed, it's formed. And every experience, every thought, everything that you do shapes your identity. And you have a say in how it's shaped. Now, if this helps you, share it with someone else who's on the journey of becoming. And if you want more videos on identity, leadership, and spiritual formation, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.